So now that your dog has some nice duration on the mat, we can start adding some distractions. And we'll keep the distractions very small, very easy, and that can be as simple as turning your body from left to right. It's important to note that when you make eye contact with your dog, it can help keep them in position. So we want to take eye contact off our dogs and turn our bodies just slightly, just as we would if we asked them to wait on the mat and walked away. I'm reinforcing Louis probably about 5-second intervals, but my suggestion to you would be to start at 2-second and work your way up in 2-second intervals. I'm going to do a little body turn here, very simple, but I have turned my back to him and I'm going to reinforce him for that. So now that I've warmed Louis up with some duration and a little distractions, I'm going to do a circle around him and see if he'll wait and stay in place in the circle. So this is a very challenging one for dogs because they want to turn their head and follow you, and they'll actually pop up just to keep their eyes on you. So if this does occur, then we're going to back it up and we're going to mark and reinforce for quarter turns. Quarter in, back up, mark and reinforce. So we're breaking it down here. Quarter in, mark, back up, reinforce. And repeat this several times before you go a little further. Here I'm going to add a little bit more and go halfway, all the way around to Louis' back end. Mark, walk back, reinforce. Don't forget to cue your dog first before you move. Use your stay, your wait, or whatever cue it is that you use to tell them not to move from their position. After I've done that several times, I'm going to add another quarter. You see how he's turning his head? He wants to keep an eye on me. This is very natural. It may cause your dog to pop up. That's why we do everything in slow, small increments. Now I'm going to add a body change, and I'm just bending down and moving my arms, or just bending down. For a lot of dogs, when we get close to them, the social pressure will bring them out of position. So be very mindful if bending down causes your dog to jump out of position. Again, break it down. Don't go down so far, just go down a little bit, mark and reinforce, and repeat that several times. 5 times. That's a good number to start with. When your dog is able to stay in position after 5 repetitions, he meets the criteria to add something different. Here I'm doing full body turns, looking away, moving away. Your dog may anticipate that you're going to get up and leave, and this may bring them out of position. So this is also a big part of teaching your dog to stay on the mat, anticipation of you walking away, and we want them to stay put. After several sessions and you're having success with your dog staying in position with mild distractions, it's time to raise the criteria again and advance the training. Here I'm opening the door. I have a baby gate to prevent Louis from going outside, but he really likes the neighbor. The door's open, the smells are there, and that is a pretty big distraction. So what you're about to see is all real time, real stuff. I'm not going to edit it. We've done a little bit of work in this area, so we'll just see how this goes. So I'm starting very easily and adding, with the big distraction, I'm just adding duration at this point. I'm not adding any more distractions. I'm reinforcing him for staying in position, probably every 5 to 6 seconds. He's actually not even looking at the door. If he was, and when he came back to me with his eye contact, I'd probably reinforce that. There, I just walked to the door and I looked out. I didn't say anything. I just walked to the door, came back, and reinforced him. However, what I might do next is I will say hi, hello, hey, how are you? All that is association to people and a huge distraction, and it may cause him to pop up. So I'm very careful about this. I did say hello and hi, and he did just fine. So with the door open now, we've just come back for a small break. Louis just done a big yawn there, maybe a stress yawn. I'm asking him to go to his mat, and I'm not going to edit this because I want you to see that training isn't perfect. He's looking at me, he's not sure he wants to participate, maybe a little distraction, and then I lose him. Sometimes in training, it's really important to let our dogs look and assess. Now that he's assessed, he's come back and he's ready to work with me. But if I had called him, prompted him, bribed him to come back, he's not really wanting to work with me, but only doing so because I've asked him to. Patience is so important with dog training. Let him look around. When he comes back to me, it means he's actually fully engaged with me. So I'm going to close the door and we're going to start over again. I've got Louis back with me. I've warmed him up, and now I'm going to go for a little walk around the kitchen. He's staying in it put. He's hearing me. His ears are back. He's following me and tracking me. And I come back and mark and reinforce. I'll do that 2 times. This is a pretty big high criteria. And there he popped up. That was too much for him. So I'm going to bring him back. Gently bring your dog back to the mat. Maybe it's time to stop training. Maybe I went too far. And I'm just going to ask him, excuse the butt shot, sorry about that. I'm just going to ask him to come in and work with me again. And then I'm going to stop. Now you might stand there and think, he's being stubborn. No, no, no. There's a reason why he doesn't want to come in. He might be done training. He might be tired of doing this. And even if he was stubborn, we still have to work with our dogs, whether they're stubborn or willful or pushy. These are only labels. I think that he's very tired at this point, and I'd like to invite him to the mat one more time so I can release him. So Louis seems to be stuck. I'm going to bend down, and that'll bring him into me. It's like an invitation to come in. And I know Louis well, and I can tell with the mouthing of the hands, he's starting to get tired. So I'm going to call it a day with the training. Training tips. After you have achieved 8 seconds of duration on the mat, you can now advance the training to include distractions. Remember this, when you add distractions at first, lower the duration and build it up slowly. Add simple distractions such as body movement first, looking up and away, or moving your arms around. Don't add too many distractions at once. If you add a distraction, reinforce success for 5 repetitions before you increase the challenge of a new distraction. Training rule. If your dog is not able to do what you ask, go back to where they were successful and start over, but this time make it easier.